This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
And the crowd goes wild, don't they? Because we do have the UFC welterweight champion in the house. Jack, good morning, mate.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
First of all, Jack, great name for a ring announcer to call out, isn't it? It really, I know, but there's so many syllables that you can draw out, and he really gets into it. That's great. Well done on that.
Yeah, he's good.
Start.
Bruce is the man. He always gets it spot on as well.
Bruce Buffer.
Yeah.
We actually did we chat to him one time?
You did.
Yeah, I think we did have him in
Yeah,
for a bit of a chat.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
When he came over for the Volk fight against, was it Islam Makhachev? Yeah, we got a lot of the people from the UFC.
Great.
Did you fight that weekend? Or
Yeah, I fought the same night.
Yes.
Yep.
The crowd on that one in particular, that was going off its charts, wasn't it?
That was a special one. Definitely one of the most insane atmospheres I've fought in. So, yeah, it was a one to remember.
Yeah, no doubt. One to remember was two weekends ago, I would have thought.
Yeah, 100%. That was a special one, obviously, the big one.
Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, and you've brought the belt in. I mean, it's a subtle little number, isn't it? So you were telling us that you had that in your carry-on luggage, which I think is probably over the 7-kilo weight limit, just saying. So that had to go through the X-ray machine and everything. Yeah,
every time they said, "Is there a belt in there?" I said, "Yeah," and then they had to whip it out. A couple of them said, they were like, "Is that a UFC belt?" I said, "Yeah," and then they said, "Oh, don't worry."
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah. So a lot of them just sort of let me just
waved it through. Yeah. They're not going to argue with you. You've got that belt.
You choke them down.
Yeah.
Jack, you got the two young kids. Sometimes you come home from work and you would be a bit worse aware. How do you explain to your kids what you do?
I mean, my older son has just, he's 2.5. He's just started to understand it. He was over in Montreal. We took him out and I did have a solid shiner.
Yeah,
you did.
Oh, you did?
He was impressed with it.
Yeah.
He actually really liked it. He thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Does your wife let you, wrestle with the kids?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Franco's he loves wrestling. Every time I get home, he wants to wrestle.
But I'd be worried for his safety, you know what I mean?
Right. Jack, after that fight, I remember seeing you getting interviewed a few times and because you actually saw, you go, "Oh, I didn't realise I copped a few," and it just started to come out, obviously, after the adrenaline and the bruises and that. Yep. It was quite brutal. I mean, clearly, unanimous decision. It was you were the winner.
Yeah.
But to look at you...
You didn't feel like it at the time. You well and truly in control. Didn't feel like you...
No, I felt pretty... I had one solid shiner, but pulled up pretty good. It took a few days and it was gone, so I feel like I'm ready to go again.
Yeah. Did you feel like leading into that this is... did you make it up to be a really huge opportunity? Because it is, right? And how did you keep your emotions in check knowing that, these fights don't come along too often? Yeah,
I just believed I could beat Bilal Muhammad. So I tried not to think too much about what was at stake, but just try and keep it super chill, just another fight. I believe I had the skills to beat him, so it was just a matter about going out there and just executing the game plan. Which I think the team made a good game plan and just stuck to it and, believed in ourselves.
Jack, we're talking off air. You are an Aquinas boy. Did you get into any biffos in Aquinas? Because that could be expulsion.
Yeah.
You were pretty mild-mannered at school, weren't you?
Yeah, I was...
People at school would be surprised now that you are the world champion.
Yeah.
Do you have a reunion coming up and you just rock up with your belt?
I mean, you would win. You would win the reunion.
I think the next one's the 20-year, but... Yeah, I'll definitely I'll be hanging on to it for then, for sure.
I mean, this is quite a comeback for you too, because last year you were quite sick. You had an infection that needed a lot of surgery and a lot of... So talk to us about that and what the recovery was, because you've bounced back pretty well. Yeah,
it was a long... I broke my arm in a fight March last year, which was my last fight.
Yeah.
Broke it, came back, had surgery, and then from the surgery got an infection. They got down to the bones. It was pretty nasty. They were pretty... They didn't really know what to do, so it was just a lot of antibiotics and a few, I think 4 surgeries all up.
Yeah, and it would have ravaged his system.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was probably 4 months of pretty strong antibiotics.
Well, you can't train at all pretty much in that time. Maybe a bit of
wasn't
fitness
allowed
stuff.
to.
It wasn't allowed to.
But I did.
Too hard for that. I'll fight this out. Jack, take us back to when you decided that this might be an option for you, right? Okay, so you started the MMA stuff and then it gets to a point where you must be good. I know you lost your first couple of fights, but then all of a sudden you're on the Contender Series. How did that take place, first of all, to get to that level?
It was just I mean, the first goal was just to try and become like an Australian champion amongst the organisations in Australia. So just trying to climb that ladder, which there was a lot of good fighters in the welterweight division. So just one fight at a time. Lost the first two. Me and my coach made a goal to try and win 10 fights.
Yep.
All on the Australian scene. So we just sort of stuck at it, enjoyed competing, loved training. And then, the 10th fight got the opportunity to fight on the Contender Series.
Was that amazing to go over there and be a part of that? And did that exceed what your expectations might have been? You know, you're around, we've got cameras in here with us today, but all that stuff that came with it?
Yeah, it was surreal moment. Just I've watched the UFC. I'm a big fan since a young age. So just being able to go in there and then the Contender Series, it wasn't like a big UFC event, but it was like had Dana White there. A lot of seeing all the some of the old competitors who have now work in the UFC doing different jobs. So it was surreal moment. But I felt like it was just meant to be. I felt like it was my time, so I just gave it my all.
Jack, can I ask a personal question? Your nose. Now, your nose has been through some stuff, but we thought Shaun's nose had been through the ringer, but yours, can you breathe through that?
Yeah, pretty good. I think they say
How many
when
times
you get
has it been broken?
I think I broke it when I was younger and then took a solid, it was my second loss, took a solid knee right on it, just completely rearranged it.
Yeah.
But I just...
And you thought there's no point?
People were saying you should go get it fixed. I thought...
It's just going to get smashed again. So, like, once you retire, do you think? Or are you just happy to...
That's what I think. When I retire, I'll fix it. But then I probably will just never fix it.
It's got character.
There's a lot of character.
What does your wife say to you before your fight? The last thing she says to you, what would she say?
She's really supportive. She just says go out there and have fun, basically.
Have fun. Have fun.
Get 'em. Doesn't matter if you win or
Pretty
lose.
much, yeah. She loves it. She loves it. Really supportive. She knows that this is my passion, so she always.
What about your mum? What does your mum say?
Mum's more like, just be safe.
Yeah. Mums would always think that way.
Have fun and be safe. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good, like, you know what I'm doing, right?
Jack, when you first came on the scene, on the UFC scene, and then Dana White gives out his fight of the match and you get a lump sum of cash, was that one of the I mean, this is an absolute highlight. I'll get back to this. But at the time, when you're doing everything, you're putting all your efforts in, I'm not sure if they're paying you a truckload of money, and then you get that lump sum of money for just having the knockout of the night or the fight of the night?
The fight of the night bonus. Yeah, that was special. They after the event, he always does his like press conference and then names them. And I guess, after that first one, I was just sitting on the edge of my seat. And when I heard that, it was like, oh, awesome.
I can buy something.
Yeah, I can buy something.
I can pay for the electricity.
So good. Well, congratulations, Jack. It's an incredible achievement. And obviously, you fight on. Everybody wants to knock you off now.
Yeah, exactly.
You want more rubies on that belt, I bet. Yep. So,
are we expecting another fight to come down here to RAC? Because Perth Arena's been going off the two that we've had here. Huge success.
Yeah, they do. I believe there is an event scheduled this year. It's not a pay-per-view event. It's only a fight night. Still good. They tend not to put champions on the fight night, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
obviously,
being the hometown boy, maybe.
It'd be a dream come true to fight in the backyard. I fought February 23, and it was incredible. The atmosphere is insane. One of my favourite fights I've ever had. So. Yeah, I think we can.
Fingers crossed.
They are talking up, just last question, they are talking up Islam, which you're reading the paper, it could be your next matchup. Is that a person you're looking at, or it just depends who comes your way?
I mean, I've got to be prepared for everyone, but I think that is the match the UFC are going to make. Islam, a lightweight, he's done very good stuff in the lightweight division.
You mean literally, not that he's a lightweight, but yes, he's a literal lightweight. Yes.
But I think he's going to step up to the big boy division, and it should be a good match.
Yeah. All right. Well,
mate,
great to have
wish
you
all the
good
best.
Luck. You're a legend.
Thank you so much.
If you need help carrying your belt, just let us know.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Here we go. The only place to watch every game of every round live and ad break free during play is with Fox Footy on KO Sports. What a great moment when we get to catch up with Johnathan Brown, the Lion King himself. Brownie, come in.
Brownie.
Oh, it's great. Great to be on. And my favourite breakfast show out of all the Novas in Australia.
You say that to the rest as well. We know.
I'm like one of those rock stars. I love Melbourne. Perth's the greatest. I love Adelaide.
Exactly. Good to hear from you, Brownie. Hey, let's just jump straight into the Jeremy McGovern situation where he's got to face the AFL panel. And you're really a full bottle, I'd imagine, on this because concussion played a big part in the ending of your career as well. So where do you sit with this?
It's interesting. I didn't realise there was an actual panel.
No, it wasn't.
It's in place, which is it's probably better. To be honest, it's probably a little bit more objective, I suppose. My situation ended with I late in my career had a couple of head knocks and. I was just really, I couldn't pass the concussion test, and it lasted a couple of weeks. And a dear friend of mine, who's still the club doctor, Paul McConnell, he just grabbed me probably more as a mate and said, I just don't think you should go on. And and I pushed back and, probably flew a few insults in his direction.
Yeah.
And we had a fair blue about it. But I was emotional because you love football and you've done it since time I remember. I remember playing at City Beach Juniors, when we lived in Perth there for a couple of years at about the age of 10 years old, going to Subiaco, watching those great West Coast Eagles players and just wanted to emulate those guys. And then when it's sort of taken away from you, I was only 32 years old. Yeah. You want to fight it initially until you come to your senses. And I think a great thing is, I'm not sure if Jeremy's got family, but I went down we were sort of living on a farm at that stage, and I said to my eldest, Olivia, who may have been 3 or 4 years old at the time, I said to Liv, do you reckon Dad can keep playing football? And she said, no. She said, you can't keep playing
so you
footy.
wouldn't take the doctor's word for it? I
just want to kick out in the paddock with you.
Don't take the doctor's word for it, but do take the 3-year-old.
Right. Did Coles have a say in that?
Absolutely.
Brownie, did Coles have a say in that?
She was actually pretty good because she was very supportive all the way. She said, it's your career and, I know it's your dream. So, but eventually, I think the doctor said to me, mate, I'm not going to clear.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Jeremy, he'll follow in the same path if the concussion, if the board or the panel says you can't keep playing. So it's just the unfortunate circumstance we live in these days. But it's obviously a big deal, isn't it, with concussions and
you've got to play it safe. There's no doubt about it. You're talking about people's long-term health and physical and mental, and so there's a lot of implications there. It's just, from a human point of view, a shame for somebody's career when they've had a glittering career, 5 times All-Australian, for it to finish with a whimper. Do you know what I mean?
Player. Yeah, that's right. For every Shane Crawford out there who got to played their last game in a premiership. Yeah. And I think Mark Sashcroft, teammate of mine as well.
Yep.
Like, that's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the dream. But in reality, that happens to about 0.0001%
that's right.
0.0001% of
it happens to 2 people.
Well, that's right. The only 2 I could think of. So, but what a wonderful player he has been. And but you're right. It's just a shame because you want to be able to pick your ending. Yeah. And but unfortunately, most of the time in the AFL, we don't get to pick our ending.
No, that's true.
We'll see how that weighs up. I also wanted to, in the last couple of days, actually, particularly on your couch, you've had Nathan Buckley, and you're grilling him about the Tasmanian job. Now that he's put his hand up, and I've been talking about this behind the scenes, there's no question in my mind that he was going to come back to coaching. He wasn't a premiership player and he wasn't a premiership coach. Very close in both circumstances. That would be he's one of those people who's got a real drive in him.
Oh, he does.
Brownie, do you think, that Tasmanian situation aside, now that he's kind of put up his hand and announced to the world that he does have a drive to get back in the game, that other clubs will start looking at their coach and thinking, should we make a play for this?
It is a reality because there's no question in Bucks' mind, and he has got the competitive fire, become really good mates with Bucks over the last few years. He's a wonderful fella, but that fire is still burning away. He's obviously trying to balance up his life with his 2 teenage boys, which is really important to him.
Broken up with his girlfriend, so he's got a bit of time on his hands. So
he has got a bit of time. So I said, mate, maybe stay single for a while, Bucks.
Exactly.
So he was. Yeah, it'll be interesting because 2 different propositions there. You go to an established club, probably more likely to win a flag in a shorter space of time than what you would be going to Tasmania, even though I don't think the build will take as long as GWS and Gold Coast. But it is an interesting one. He'd have to be right up the top of the priority list, along with someone like, I'd say, Chris Scott. I think Tasmania will be into Chris Scott because I think they'll try and build that club and emulate that club off the Geelong Football Club. So there's a lot of similarities there. It's almost a big country town feel, and it'll be attractive to mature age players. But no question now, Bucks is he's right in the mix, isn't he?
Well, just makes other clubs who sit around there and go,
their ears would have pricked up and you'd be like, hang on a second.
A few nervous coaches, you reckon?
I think so. Contingencies, you've got to. And as boards of other clubs around there, you've got to have the discussion.
So which club then?
I haven't thought about it, but I will. And I'll come back to you tomorrow.
Just off the top of your head, what about you, Brownie? Do you reckon
if Fremantle didn't have a win like they did in the weekend, you might have been looking at that.
Sure.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but, look, obviously McWalter's just started his career there.
So it's not going to be there.
A wonderful job, I think, of the benefit of time. But who knows? That's probably going to be another 12, 18 months away till clubs start to make decisions on that, if Bucks is in the frame. But no doubts Bucks will be a better coach second time round. He's got a wonderful football mind.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, isn't it amazing sliding doors? You think Bucks went within 2 points until Dom Sheed turned up that last Saturday in September in 2018. Bucks gets the wrist hole in 2021, and Simo, who had a pretty ordinary record the last few years, Simo got another 3 years out of that.
Yeah.
By just simply being a premiership coach.
Yep.
Bucks would have still been coaching Collingwood, no doubt. If they had won that game, Bucks would have still been coaching, and then Nick Dacos would have turned up.
Yeah.
So, there's a chance that they would have been playing top four, and Bucks would still be coaching. So, sliding doors moments.
It's amazing, isn't it?
2 points.
It was 4, I think,
2
wasn't it?
points.
4?
Was it 4? 2?
I think it's 4.
At the end of the day, he lost the game, didn't he?
Yeah,
lost the game.
Doesn't matter.
And then you're out.
Yeah.
You're out. So, and I'll tell you, I just want to make mention too, Oscar Allen's been kicked to the curb all year, hasn't he? But the way he spoke post-game was fantastic. It really stood out to me, and obviously, the Perth teams don't get as much attention over on the East Coast, but he's had a difficult year, and the way he spoke about Adam Selwood and the way he spoke about his own struggles and just the team's performance was magnificent, I thought. And I thought, geez, that bloke's got a fair bit of character.
Yeah.
No wonder he's the captain of the footy club, and hopefully he stays and can lead the Eagles out of the rut they've been in for the last 2 or 3 years. So, obviously, that Adam Selwood, close friends with the Selwood family. I played with Troy, wonderful family, and, highest of characters. So it was just one of the saddest things I think we've ever seen and ever come across in our time in the football landscape.
Yeah.
Well said, Browdy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time, mate.
No, it's great. I hope you're all going well. You're getting sick of each other after 15 years? It's amazing.
And the rest.
It's been a while.
Love your work, Brownie. Thanks, mate. We'll catch up again soon.
See you, mate.
Catch up.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.